It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer. I'm going to start off this review by showing you a glass bottle that I picked up in a flea market in Cardiff, South Wales. It's a green bottle of Allsopps, would have been Allsopps ale. Look at that old bottle. Let me hide my face so hopefully it zooms in on this bottle. But you've got that kind of famous old Allsopps hand there. This really old bottle. The company dates back from 1730, one of the oldest breweries in the UK. They go right back. Anyway, they're back. They've returned. This is a bottle of Allsopps Pale Ale, 4.4% ABV, 500 milliliter bottle. There's the bottle cap. Let's get this beer out into a glass and see what we get. I got a really funny story involving BrewDog and this company. First of all, I will tell you the story, but I want to get it out into a glass, see what we get. This company was based in Burton-on-Trent. They were a huge brewery back in the day. One of the leading Burton-on-Trent breweries. Well, there's a couple of stories I want to tell you as well. I want to tell you about Allsopps as well opening a lager plant 60 years before lager was really a thing in the UK. We'll get to that in a moment too. So, good levels of carbonation, rolling up the glass. We've got a 1 finger white head. It's amber in colour. Light amber in colour. They've done their research, they've done their homework with this. It looks tidy, it looks pretty good. And apparently, this is a really close, if not the same recipe as was what Allsopps Pale Ale was when it was first brought out. They've got some beer historians involved in this, and they found old recipes, and yeah, they're doing some good stuff with this brand. Let's get the aroma on this clear looking, pale-ish straw coloured beer. Here we go, aroma. Wow. Excuse the rain tapping on the roof. I know it might do some people's heads in. It's really citrusy. It's a lovely aroma to this. Nice light malts coming through. Wafer-like malts. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh wow, that's really interesting. In a good way, of course, in a good way. I can explain this beer. It's like balance. That's what I'm going to go with this, balance. It's a perfectly balanced beer. You're picking up some lovely, light, zesty flavours in this beer of tangerine and some lemon. And then it goes over to being biscuity and wafer-like, malty flavours coming through. Perfectly balanced. So you've got this fight going on in the glass between sweetness over here and a little bit of bitterness on the back end. And it's a really nice fight because it's the same amount of sweetness. It's the same amount of sweetness as it is bitterness, if that makes sense. It's a bit like sweet and sour chicken balls when you order the sweet and sour. It's the same amount of sweetness and sourness that really kind of just balances the sweet and sour off each other, and it just works. It's the same with beer. That sweet malt, that bitterness in the back end, but with some lovely biscuity flavours coming through, wafer-like flavours coming through, and then some lovely kind of zesty, only light zesty tangerine, orange, lemon flavours coming through. But the fact that it's perfectly balanced means that you can enjoy pint after pint after pint of this. And this is what this beer would have been brewed for back in the day. It would have been a big industry-led brewery. There was a lot of industries around that kind of Burton-on-Trent area. And they would have, you can imagine your steel shift finishing, or your coal shift, or whatever you were doing back then, clothes making, working in the mills, that sort of thing, finishing your shift. And there's something quite lovely about having a few pints and replenishing all that kind of energy you've lost, all that sweat and tears you've lost with a couple of pints of this. So what I know about the brewery, let's get into this whole BrewDog thing. So should we start off with a lager story? Let's get the lager story and what happened to Allsopps out of the way first. I'll be very quick with this one. So Allsopps were doing very well. They were a terrific brewery that were growing, and they were very innovative for their time. So innovative, in fact, that they decided to put most of the money they had into a giant lager facility. Now, this would have been the largest lager facility in the UK, without a shadow of a doubt. But it was 60 years too early. They put the plant in, they invested a lot of money into this lager plant, and it just didn't work. People couldn't, back then, grasp the concept of lager. So ultimately, long story short, they tried for years to recoup the money. They were advertising this lager that they were producing. They were trying their best, but it just wouldn't catch on. It wouldn't catch on. 60 years too early. In fact, the plant was only up until very recently, when the company went bust. I think they went bust in the 1950s or 60s. The plant was actually bought by Tennent's. So Tennent's lager, probably, if anybody drank Tennent's lager in the 70s, 80s or 90s, then they would have been drinking Tennent's lager from the Allsopps lager plant. So they packed this whole kind of plant up, took it up to Scotland for Tennent's, and that's where kind of Tennent's lager came about. How interesting is that? I loved that story when it was told to me. So, Allsopps then is all wound down. There's a couple of attempts to get this brewery going again. What you got to remember here is this brewery is 14 years. 1744 was Worthington's. This is 1730. They're 14 years younger. 14 years older than Worthington's. So it was, back in the day, it would have been a great travesty to see this company fold. It would have been something like along the lines of Cadbury's or Walker's or Smith's Crisps folding and going under. It would have been, back in the day, it would have been that magnitude, that same magnitude of going bust. People would have been devastated that the Allsopps went bust. So the brand now is nothing's going on with the brand. For some reason, a few years ago, BrewDog decided to buy the Allsopps brand. For whatever reason, BrewDog buy Allsopps. They were going to turn Allsopps into an ale company again, but they didn't do anything with it. They didn't do anything with Allsopps. So one of the Allsopps relatives is still alive today. One of the descendants decides that he wants the family name back, and he wants to get brewing again. And he gets a team of people around him, a couple of beer historians, you know, a good team of people behind him, and they approach BrewDog to get the brand back. And initially, I think there was a little bit of resistance from BrewDog to get the, you know, BrewDog didn't want to give the brand back initially. I don't think there was a bit of resistance there. I mean, they bought the brand, they own it. You know, there's going to be a bit of a resistance, but finally, after a bit of to and fro, a bit of tug of war, they get the brand back from BrewDog, and here we are today. So they haven't got a brewery. Allsopps don't have a brewery as of 2022, so they're what we call kind of gypsy brewing. They're borrowing another brewery's site to brew their beers on. But let's hope that in years to come, the Allsopps brand makes a fantastic comeback. That's my little story with Allsopps. If I've got bits wrong, please help me out in the comments box. Please fill in the bits that I might have missed over time, and please fill in if I got any of that wrong. Please fill in that too. But can they come back tasting this beer? Can they make a comeback? Can they bring the great Allsopps name back to where it was? If they carry on brewing beer like this, then I say absolutely. It's zesty, it's balanced, nice light crisp malts, it's very drinkable. You can enjoy one, you can enjoy four. It's beautiful pint of beer. I like that enough to give it an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 from Real Ale Craft Beer. Please put your comments in the comments box, subscribe to our daily beer and food reviews, give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom! Cheers!